Hello everybody, excuse the hat, just had a bad hair day today. But welcome to my Geography 101 presentation. Today my presentation will be focused on the Andes Mountains, their formation, earthquakes, and the climate that occurs within that mountain range. So let's give you some background. The Andes Mountains stretch over 7,000 kilometers long, all along the western edge of South America, spanning through countries such as Chile, Peru, and Colombia. They are the longest continental mountain range in the world, and they are incredibly biodiverse, flourishing with cultural history, and have an overall dynamic geological landscape with lots of different geological activity. This presentation, we're going to go ahead and explore how they were formed, why they're so seismically active, and how elevation shapes much of the ecosystem and much of human life. This is my background. That's just a picture of the Andes Mountains right there. So, research question and why this topic? I decided to choose this topic because of the fact that I've always been fascinated by the power of Earth's tectonic forces and how mountains can influence weather, ecosystems, and just overall cultures. And a lot of my family now is from South America, so it's kind of just cool to go and, explore some of that history. And I guess the Andes are kind of like a perfect example of this interaction. So my research question was, how has the formation and elevation of the Andes Mountains shaped physical geography and human life in South America? This is a picture of human life in South America. So, overall mountain formation and the Nazca Plate and its subduction zones. So the Andes formed from subduction of the oceanic Nazca Plate, beneath the continental South American plate. This process began tens of millions of years ago and still continues to this day and will continue for as long as we exist. The compression caused by this tectonic collision, though, uplifted the crust, which created the Andean range that we have today. So here I'll have a picture of subduction zones and just a little layout of the volcanoes, just Ticoxi and the Andes mountain range. Earthquakes and volcanic activity. So for my second topic, I'll be discussing earthquakes and volcanic activity. Due to ongoing subduction, the Andes are high in seismic activity and will continue to go on for God knows how long. But due to this seismic activity, in the 1960s, they experienced an all-time high earthquake, which had a magnitude of over 9.5, which is one of the strongest ever to date. So volcanoes such as Cotopaxi in Ecuador and Sabancaya in Peru are part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, and this tectonic activity makes the Andes a major hotspot for all of these kind of natural hazards. So it's a really beautiful place, but at the same time it's kind of scary just being able to take in the fact that it's like you're literally living on tectonic plates that could set off at any point and split the earth. This is just a picture, jumped the gun a little bit, of those tectonic plates and the way that they move, and another subduction zone. So now we're going to go into altitudinal zonation and climate by elevation. So in the Andes, temperature and climate change dramatically change with elevation, and that's overall going to affect the populace, it's going to affect the weather, and it's going to do a lot more than you would expect. So this pattern is called altitudinal zonation, and the main zones, and this is going to be in Spanish because we're talking about the Andes here, are Tierra Caliente, which stands for hot land. So you're going to get stuff like tropical fruits such as like bananas and other kinds of crops. There's Tierra Templada, which is temperate land. So you're going to get stuff like coffee beans and maíz. Tierra Fría, which is like your cold land. So you'll be able to grow stuff like potatoes and wheat and maybe barley and other things like that. Tierra Helada, which is frost land. So you'll see stuff like, llamas grazing and just some empty pastures, but After that, we have the final stretch of the climate, which is Tierra Nevada, which is snowland, and that is uninhabitable. So basically, I have a little layout right here of the altitudinal zonation and how that explains the climate. And it's just a little simple layout of what can grow inside of those climates. Visuals and media. So this is just a little like flash slide of some of the things that I wanted to provide for context, so that way people could get a better understanding of what exactly the Andes are, and from a geographic standpoint, what's going on as far as like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions or just overall volcanic activity. And then I just wanted to give a couple pictures of Machu Picchu and Cotopaxi to go ahead and show you guys just couple more of that beautiful range. But here they are. This is a another subduction zone showing the convergence, and then have another one over here, and then we have those two pictures at the bottom. Ecosystems and human adaptation. So because of the elevation and just the overall climate difference, the Andes host a varied amount of ecosystems, which include cloud forests all the way to alpine tundra. So you can be seeing a very big variation of the types of living that people are inhibiting, just because of the fact that that climate is ranging so far. But overall, humans adapt. So some of them are terracing hillsides for farming, others are doing it a little more traditionally on the lowland by farming and growing quinoa and potatoes, but they both tend to work in very similar yet very different fashions. They both build homes with thick materials for insulation, and so that way, regardless, like in their winters and summers, their experience isn't treated. So overall, the Inca Empire was a great historical example of this, because they made those advanced adaptations and overall made a huge step forward in Andean geography, because they were able to cultivate so much from their land regardless of the climate that they had faced, and let's say like the elevation changes. They were able to be successful in wherever they were inhibiting along that side of the Andes range. So just an overall topic overview here. Oh, I'm gonna go back, sorry, I just wanted to show you these pictures because they're beautiful. They're Machu Picchu. So overall topic overview. The Andes are a living example of physical geography in action. They're the tectonic forces that are within shape landforms and trigger so many hazards that are yet both beautiful yet ever so dangerous, which is kind of just like, it's amazing because it's just like there's beauty in the bad, and then there's also good in the ugly. So it's kind of like that give and take there. But sorry for the tangent. But overall, the elevation created microclimates and a biodiversity due to this Andes mountain range. And with that being the case, like I said earlier, you're going to see so much different landscapes, and you're going to see so many different types of forms of weather. But yeah, and another connection is people continuously adapt to these physical conditions, as I had mentioned earlier, which is why it's so cool, the Andes people, because they vary in lifestyle, but yet they all share so many cultural similarities. And understanding the Andes gives us just insight into the Earth's process, and the resilience of human communities and their ability to withstand everything, even through the Earth giving and taking as much as it does. So here are some overall presentation connections. The formation of the Andes through plate subduction directly led to seismic and volcanic activity, which highly affected the mountain range as a whole. The immense elevation change created distinct climate zones, which in turn influenced different ecosystems and different natures of human life. So all in all, it had a big factor in the way that people are living their day-to-day lives and the way that the climate is seen from an outsider's perspective as well as the people living in it. But overall, these connections show just how deeply geography shapes the natural and human world and how intertwined it all is. Like, we work hand in hand with Earth in order to make not only ourselves successful, but to help the next generation be successful and just to take care of the planet itself. And so these are some of the final pictures I have of just the populace, just the people working with nature, doing their best to cultivate. And then these are just some of my references here. So, and then I'll just do a quick Alright. And then, yeah, this will be it. I appreciate you guys for watching my presentation. Thank you so much.